Hey guys, Quo here, and we'll be going over a few advanced techniques and tactics in Pokemon Snap. I'm going to preface this video by saying nothing here is going to replace practice. No top runner has a secret strat that saves 15 seconds, but hopefully the contents of this video will give some of you a push in the right direction. I'll be breaking this video down into 3 parts: menuing, cart and camera mechanics, and specific Pokemon strats. The first 2 segments are, in my opinion, what most low 21 runners should be focusing on, while the third segment is common mistakes that either cause resets or lose a bunch of time, but should be completely avoidable. The first important thing in menuing is mashing, and we'll go over a mechanic here that makes mashing through Oak text 100% consistent. In Snap, whenever there is an A and B option for Oak, the game only checks if the B button is being held down when a button is being pressed during this time. In simple terms, it means if you're holding the B button and press A, you don't repeat the text. This can lead to a safe strat where you can mash A and B until the text box comes up, then while holding B, continue mashing A, and this will lead you to clear the Oak text and enter the next level without too much trouble. Although this is not 100% optimal, because taking the 50-50 would technically be faster, it can lead to overall safer and faster mashing. Keep in mind that during Dash Engine and Poke Flute texts, you'll have to adapt a little in order to select the correct menu item, and also this will not work for the Oak cabin text, so stick to B mashing for that one at the end. Menuing the Pokemon pictures can be a little tricky to figure out the timing at times, so to make it more complex, one needs to consider that the timing for the pictures loading are not consistent even within the same level. For example here, the pictures on the first page of each take longer to menu over compared to the pictures on the second page. Understanding this concept and adapting to the timing will lead to more optimal menuing. Exiting the menu is pretty simple. It's 3 inputs: B, up, A. If you were to input the analog stick input at the same time as a button input, the game considers the analog input to happen first. So in this case, to exit the menu in 2 frames, you would press B on the first frame, then up and A on the next frame. This one's really simple. A lot of people tend to mash A to skip these cutscenes, but as long as you simply start holding A during the load screen, the cutscene is going to skip automatically. On Wii U, however, mashing is still the best option since the loading screens are so short. This mechanic is similar to the previous one. You can buffer both the dash engine and the camera inputs so that you dash or zoom in the camera on frame 1. This should always be done during signs with the dash engine, and the camera helps with Poliwag picture in River 1. One lesser known aspect about camera locking is that if you zoom in and out too quickly, it actually won't work. For example, if your camera locks to the right and then want to move left, if you unzoom and rezoom too fast, the camera won't actually update its facing position, so you'll still be going right. Although this mechanic is important everywhere, it's especially important after Muk, since without being careful, you can be camera locked backwards for a while without noticing it. This still needs to be investigated on why exactly it saves time, but by drifting to the right of the track on Valley, you can save just about a second over the entire course. Henceforth, this trick will be known as the Danimal Sound's microangle. I'm really hoping the name sticks this time. How could this happen to me? Fingers crossed. Of course, this only really works with a 0-picture Valley, but if you do need pictures and can afford it, Sentra and Geodude could be options to save the second. Although frame data isn't critical to know, it still helps with timing. After pressing Z, you need to wait 6 frames before taking a picture. Similarly, you need to wait 6 frames before taking a first and a second picture. Although a relatively understood mechanic, there are still a lot of people who cut off parts of Pokemon, and this can lose them a few points. These points do add up a lot, however, so it is something that needs to actually be kept in mind. For example, if you lose 50 points on 20 Pokemon, you're down 1,000 points by the end of the game. On a similar note, if a Pokemon is blocked by an apple, a Pester Ball, or another Pokemon, you'll lose points on the size, so try to avoid these whenever possible. The angle on Beach Pikachu isn't too precise, but not understanding it can still cost you about 500 points out of Beach. The lineup you want to aim is for when Pika's ear is parallel to the wall texture right behind him. Newer players can opt to aim for the body, but getting the tail instead leads to a few extra points. There's not a secret strat for Butterfree, it's all about reacting to the speed of the wings and timing the picture. However, by aiming on the outside of the wings, you can tell whether or not the wings are spread out by the red dot. If you get the centered click, things are looking good. If not, it might not work out. A relatively common strategy for magnets is that after you throw the first few apples, you can drift to the right. This leads to two things. First of all, Magnemite will be more likely to travel towards the other two magnets, and secondly, you'll be able to hit the electrode with an apple sooner since you're now closer to it. The first thing that needs to be understood here is that Magmar will always go for the first apple thrown, while Charmander will always go for the newer apple. With this in mind and a little practice, no pattern should make you lose any time or points. Even if they're super far away, you can still lure them closer together before trying to go for the pictures, as seen here. Koffing Snipe is a seldom used strat, but assuming you go for Bean Sprout Snipe, you should also go for Koffing Snipe since it completely eliminates the risk of you accidentally hitting Koffing instead of Weeping Bell. The lineup is pretty simple. When Koffing's midline crosses the edge of the wall, aim an apple slightly above Jigglypuff. After doing the typical Snipe setup, you'll quickly see right, hit Jigs with an apple, see up to take a Weeping Bell picture, look to the left for Jigglypuff, then wait a little bit until you see Koffing puff out smoke, and it should be a 4K pick. After that, see up to take Victory Bell, and you're done. Seeing as this is only a 3-frame window and the setup is pretty janky, it may not be worth going for, but regardless, here it is. By positioning yourself to the far right of the track, you can use the corner of the power meter to line up with the wall here and take a picture. Although it's not showcased here, looking up instead of down after playing the Pokeflute saves about a second thanks to lag reduction. Beach Sign has a pretty easy sound cue. With optimal lag reduction, you can take it on the downbeat of the 5th measure of the music. For the 99% of the population who didn't understand that, you can take it in tune with this note of the music and it will still be optimal. And that's going to conclude my advanced guide. Although I wish I could have covered everything, I didn't want to overload people with information, but hopefully everyone who watched this learned a thing or two and can incorporate it in runs.